What is up, Sneeples? Outsiders is officially released. We have all new heroes, but we also have some old heroes. We're going to be talking about Rangers today, and I got a lot to say about Rangers, so let's get right into it. We'll talk about how these cards are going to impact the constructed meta as well as the limited. Alright, so here we got Azalea and Riptide. I think Azalea is going to be a very big impact on the classic constructed meta. Personally, I think she has a lot of legs, and I do think she's going to be very high up there in the tier list. I don't know about limited. I could see that working just as well. Not limited. I'm sorry. I don't know about Blitz. She's good at limited. Let me tell you, she's actually good at limited. It might not have seemed that way with pre-release weekend. Rangers really got hit hard on pre-release weekend because in sealed, it is kind of hard to play and win with Rangers, only because Assassins tend to be pretty good into Rangers. And Uzuri and Arachne are probably the most popular heroes to play in sealed. So they did take a little bit of a hit there, but in draft, you can draft a very good Ranger deck for both Azalea and Riptide. So I think there's something to be said there. Next up, Riptide. Riptide is just our new hero. He has new mechanics. I think he's very cool, but I gotta be honest with you, I haven't figured him out, and I haven't seen anyone else figure him out either. I think he reminds me of Dromai of this set, where I think he's good. I just think that there has to be the right deck or the right meta for him to really excel. And so I'm not quite sure what that is, but currently thinking that he's not going to make that big of an impact, to be honest. We get Barbed Castaway. This is our new weapon of the set. That's a token, that is. And I think this is a very good card for limited. I think this works to make all the aim counter stuff work for both heroes. But I'm not sure if this gets played outside of that. I don't think Riptide necessarily cares about it. You would have to be running the arrows that would really want the aim counters in order for you to play this. All right, Trench of the Sunken Treasure. I was kind of down on this card. I was down on all the legendaries at first, but through play testing, I tend to like this card more and more. However, I really think it's really just a Riptide card. I don't really see myself playing it too much in Azalea. Like, I know it has AB. I think I still just like the Tunic more. I don't know if I have enough resources to be playing AB3, right? You're already playing the Bracers. You're already playing the Skull Wrap. In my version, at least. There is some other version out there of New Horizon. So maybe if you're playing New Horizon, you do want a Trench of the Sunken Treasure. The full art looks amazing on this card. It's pretty cool there. But I don't know. I think this is more of a Riptide card than an Azalea card. And I don't think it's a Lexi card. Okay, Quiver of Abyssal Depths. This is another legendary that we get for Rangers. And I think it's very good. I do. I really like it. I like the whole concept of quivers. I think these are all very good. I think this is a Riptide quiver. I could see Azalea using it as well. But personally I could see Lexi using it as well. I could even see Azalea using it as well. But personally, I like the Crow's Nest more, which we'll get into. But I think this is good to... you basically don't have to run Remembrance. You don't have to have that in your hand, taking up a spot. So I think this is a very good card and much needed for Rangers. Quiver of Rustling Leaves. Personally, I like this for Lexi the best. I think this ensures that Lexi will always have like a good 3-of-a-kind hand or a good hand in general. She needs arrows to make it work, and most times when she has an arrowless hand, most of the time you're looking at like Channel Lake Frigid, Winter's Bite, Polar Blast, whatever. You're looking at like blue ice cards, and so you can here at least use one of those blue ice cards to turn it into an arrow, which is much needed. So that's kind of why I like Quiver Wrestling Leaves for Lexi. And then finally you have Crow's Nest. This is a specialization, so only Azalea could use it. But I think with Azalea's ability, with the Skullbone Cross Wrap, and then with all these new cards we're going to talk about, you could really maximize the use of Crow's Nest, and I think it's very, very good. It allows Azalea to run Death Dealer and still have access to all the aim counter arrows. Next up, Driftwood Quiver. This is whatever. I mean, this is good and limited, I suppose. But you know, if you have the quiver of Abyssal Depths, that's probably where you want to be. Wayfinder's Crest. I like this card a lot in Limited. I think we're only going to see it in Limited. I could see it possibly in Commoner. But very much like this card in Limited for Azalea. And it's also good for Riptide because it just blocks a 1. All right, Amplifying Arrow. This is the arrow that does not look like Outsiders. It looks like we're back in Aria. I obviously am a huge fan of Aria, and I love the art on this. This seems like more of a Lexi card than anything else. Lexi can make this a 0 for 4, like the easiest. So I think that's why it's more of a Lexi card than anything else. There is a way that you could use this in Azalea to really pump up damage. I don't think Riptide can make this card work all too much, but I think that's where it's at. I think it's mostly a Lexi card. Okay, Barbed Undertow. This is a very, very good card. I think this is a must-have for Azalea for sure. You know, this card hurts a lot of decks, especially Icelander if you name blue, or like a Guardian deck if you name blue. Yeah, it's rough for them. If they can't pitch blue cards, they basically just give you the turn. They can't do anything. So a very, very devastating card. Very good to have as a 3 of. You can even play it as Riptide as well if you can find a way to give it an aim counter. Speaking of Riptide, let's go into his traps. You're going to play all of his traps. Buzzsaw Trap is one of the better ones. I almost like it personally more, like as the best one, just because I feel like it hits a lot of heroes that are going to be very relevant in the meta. But yeah, very, very good. Collapsing Trap, another great one. You're going to run them all. They're all good. Even the Spike Pick Trap, which is probably the worst of the 3, but still not bad. You're going to run them all. Melting Point. This card is huge. I think this card is a must-have for Azalea. Again, here you have to have the aim counter, so that's why I think it's more of an Azalea card than anything else. Maybe Riptide. But yeah, having that aim counter to destroy a Kodachi or destroy a Spider's Bite really shifts the game into your favor as a Ranger. So I think that's a 3 of. Boulder Trap. Oh my gosh, guys, I think Rangers have gotten so much in this set, and this is another prime example. Boulder Trap really helps to make the Oldhim matchup, which is traditionally the toughest matchup, much, much easier. Using Boulder Trap to basically take out their shield is so big because unfortunately for them, they had to come in with Titan's Fist. And Titan's Fist has an attack power greater than its base if it's being played right. And so this just really, really hurts Titan's Fist. Pendulum Trap. Oh, so I think all heroes, all 3 Rangers will play this in CC and Blitz and everywhere. Pendulum Trap. This one feels like it's just a Riptide card if you just want to trap for Riptide. And it feels a little bit even more just limited than anything else. I don't know if you have to have this in Constructed as Riptide. I just don't know how to build Riptide. I'll be honest. I've tried. Tar Pit Trap. I think this one does get played in Constructed if you're Riptide. I don't know if you really play this if you're Azalea or Lexi, though. Just because I don't know if you have the room or want to make the room. But Riptide really likes this card. I actually really like this card for Riptide. Fletch a Red Tail is a 1 for 4. It's not bad. Only blocks for 2 though, so not the best. The aim counterpart's okay. I think when you're really looking at 1 for 3, I think the blue one is probably where you want to be, just because it pitches and basically it's one of your like with Azalea in particular, I should say, it's one of your last attacks, and so. This is this allows for your last pump to be big, which most times they only have blue cards to block with anyways. So it minuses that. So I like Felicia Bluetail. Lace of Blood Rot, so good. Blood Rot tokens are the best tokens overall, and giving it +3, yeah, so good. It's like a 0 for 5. It's so good. Lace of Frailty. So I think you play this in every. As a 3 of in Azalea, you probably play it in Riptide. I'm not 100% sure. And I don't think Lexi really likes pumps all that much, so you probably don't play the pumps in Lexi. Lace for Frailty. I think this one is situational. If you expect to see a lot of Lexis or you expect to see a lot of Kodachis, okay, maybe play Lace for Frailty. Otherwise, you probably don't have room for it. Lace with Inertia, however, you do have room for. This card is so good. Definitely play this as Azalea. Definitely play this as Riptide. It's a 3 of. Oh my gosh. Falcon Wing. This is a good limited card, especially for Riptide, who can attack multiple times out of the arsenal. I don't even mind this in Classic Constructed for Riptide, but I'm not 100% sure if that is the route to go. Next up is Infecting Shot. You play this in Azalea, you play this in Lexi, you play this in Riptide. This is a 3 of. This is so good. Whether you can give the aim counter or not, it's still 1 for 5 or 1 for 7. It's just so good. You play Infecting Shot red for sure. Maybe you can play the other two, but definitely red. Murkmire Grapnel, great limited card, not so much in Constructed. I just don't think damage prevention is all that big in Classic Constructed, honestly. So it's a 0 for 5 if you get a aim counter on it, but then you're probably paying for the aim counter. So yeah, anyways, not that great. Sedation Shot, just like Infecting Shot, very good. You should definitely run, and all 3 heroes should run Sedation Shot. Inertia tokens are so big. All right, next is Skybound Shot. I would not look at this card outside of Limited. It's a good one in Limited. It's just big shot and big arrow in Limited, and that's about it. Spire Sniping is huge. This is exactly the card that Azalea needed. An arrow that can be shot, that can block for 3, but can also help to put Azalea in a dominating position. I think the red is okay. I particularly like the yellows and blues just because ideally you're looking to put this in your arsenal and then switch it out with the card that you put on top with its ability. So this card is so good. You definitely have 3 of yellows and blue in Azalea for sure. Maybe red if you just feel like that's just needed. Widowmaker, very, very bad in any constructed sense. Maybe it's okay in Blitz, but probably not. Just because it says if it's defeated by 2 cards, so this includes equipment. There's equipment out there that can block all the time because it either has a 0 block or it has Battle Worn or whatnot. It just keeps getting negative counters on it, which means that this becomes a 1 for 4, and that is so lackluster. Now, if you're going in Limited, I would still hold high value in this card because there's a lot of equipment that don't block. And so if they don't have equipment that can block, if they don't block with 2 cards, it's going to be a 1 for 7, and that's huge. All right, next up is Wintering Shot. I don't think the Frailty is all that big right now. If the meta changes, then okay. So I don't think Wintering Shot gets the nod here in any deck. But that's just me. All right, let's look at the multi-class cards real quick. We got Mask of Malicious Manifestation. I do like this card quite a bit, especially for Ranger in Limited. And I think that's all you'll ever see is in Limited. Toxic Tips, I very much like this in Limited. I think this is a very, very good card just to add an extra oomph to your attack, especially in Azalea if you feel like it's definitely going to hit. Now let's talk about the Codexes. So the Codex of Blood Rot is okay. It basically gives you, you're paying this card to get a reload on your bow or your arsenal slot. And it's okay. If it's like a arsenal, you have a Spire Sniping in your hand, you can just, Codex of Blood Rot, put that Spire Sniping in and then flip it up with the Skullbone Cross Wraps, and then, you can get going from there. The fact that you get a Ponder is actually one of the biggest things. Ponder tokens are so huge for Rangers just because it lets you, use your whole hand out and then you can still have an arsenal at the end, or even lets you block with a few cards because you'll have the arsenal at the end, so it's all going to be okay. And then you give them a Blood Rot box. But let's go to the best one, which is Codex of Frailty. I think this one is just so good because if you're going in like an aggro matchup, you want to play as many red ledgers as you can. So this allows you to play 6 red ledgers essentially. And Azalea was doing that before with Memorial Grounds. But guess what? This one blocks for 2, which is really, really big. I don't think you necessarily have to dominate against aggro decks as much as like other decks. So I don't think Memorial Ground lets you like have it to be dominated. But I think this card's just fine. Like if you're forcing aggro decks to block, you're kind of winning. The fact that it also hurts aggro decks, especially Katsu, by giving them a frailty token is so big. And then here again, you get a ponder token. So very good, especially good if you can follow this, or if you played a Bolton shot and you can follow the Bolton shot by playing this card, very good. Or if you can go pump, play this card, have no cards in hand, so there's no card to discard, and then like have like a Tunic resource or maybe like, I don't know, some floating resources. Then you can just shoot your arrow, and then you still get the ponder token. You still get to reload that arsenal at the end of the turn, and everything's just gravy at that point. Codex of Inertia, I think this is probably better for. Oh, by the way, I think you run a 3 of Codex of Frailty in all Ranger decks. Even, well, maybe not Lexi, but I still kind of like it in Lexi. Codex of Bloodrot might be better. I don't know. I'm not sure which deck you. If you run it in Riptide, I think it's fine. If you run it in Azalea, I don't know if you run it over Codex Frailties. I don't know how much room you have. And then I don't think you really played in Lexi as well. Codex of Inertia, it's kind of the same as Codex of Bloodrot. It's like the only time you're going to play Codex of Inertia or Bloodrot is if you already have Codex of Frailty. So that's my personal opinion on it. It's a good card. It's a good card if you know what's on top. I don't know. It's okay. I guess it's kind of where I'm going. Not huge on it. All right, so Death Touch. This is not an Azalea card. This is not a Lexi card. This is purely a Riptide card, both in Limited and Constructed. I think this card is way too good not to be playing a 3 of as Riptide. And you probably even go for yellows as well. Maybe blues. I'm not sure about that one though. But very, very good for Riptide. Toxicity. I think this is better for Azalea than any other Ranger, just because Azalea has the dominate ability to make sure the hit happens. But I'm not huge on it. Still not huge on it. Maybe the blue, just because it pitches. But even then, I'm not that big on it. All right, Virulent Touch. Again, this is like Death Touch. Only going to be for Riptide as far as the hero goes. And you probably play it in Constructed and Limited for sure. Bloodrot Trap. If you are expecting a meta or a hero that's dominant in the meta to run a lot of reactions, like an Uzuri or whatever hero that might be, then I could see this maybe getting played in Constructed. I think if you're Riptide, you probably would do it at that point. I don't know about the other 2 heroes. I don't think the other 2 heroes typically want to run too many traps. I do like this in Limited, though. I think it's a very good card. There's a lot of reaction in Limited, so I think this is very good in Limited. Frailty Trap. Again, I think this is really just a Limited card, and it's really just for Katsu and Benji. So really just for the ninjas. Inertia Trap. I think you definitely run this as Riptide 100%. Maybe as Lexi. Maybe as Azalea. I think this card triggers more often than not. So I think this card's a very good card to run and should be definitely auto-included in Riptide. And I don't hate it in the other 2 Rangers as well. Okay, there's all the Ranger cards for you and all my hot takes on them. And yeah, I'm very, very stoked for Ranger in this set. I think Azalea got a huge bump. I think we're going to see her in a very menacing light now. And I think Outsiders is to blame, but it's a good thing. I'm very happy for it. So, guys, get to fabbing out there. Let me know what you guys think. We have other heroes on this set to review. So go check out those videos as well. But I'll catch you on the next one. Keep on fabbing. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. If you like this shirt or the others we have just like it, we sell shirts and keychains and more to come. It's go to fleshandbaubles.com, enter the promo Sneep, and you can get 10% off your entire order. Some really cool stuff, some really cool gift ideas. We would really appreciate your help supporting us. Thank you.